So, Nyssa, talk to me about what this podcast is, right? So please explain. I know you just gave a real brief, but I want you to give me a real answer. What is the Q Word podcast? What's it about? What are you doing and why did you do it?
Okay. So the Q word refers to that one word that we don't say when we're having a nice shift that sometimes a newbie will say, or someone who's not superstitious will say, just to get people like me who are superstitious riled up. So we don't say that word. We chose that title. I say we because I have a co-host. My best friend is my co-host. We chose the title because we want it to sort of be an inside joke for healthcare providers. So the Q word is not specific to ER or to just nurses. Medics believe it. Firefighters believe it. ICU nurses, med surgery, everybody knows what that's about. But that's just in healthcare. So it's kind of our little superstition. And I started the podcast because I was listening to a lot of really good podcasts that I loved and I was learning a lot from that were EMS podcasts by medics or ER physician podcasts. So when they were talking about whatever the topic was or whatever the clinical thing was, they were talking about it from the perspective of a medic or a physician. And I would always translate it to, well, for the ER nurse, what that would mean is blah, blah, blah. And then I realized I kept doing that. And I thought, you know what? I want to go and find the podcast that is from the ER nurse's perspective. Like, I want to listen to that podcast. And so I went looking for it and I couldn't find it. I didn't find it out there. So I went back to my medic podcast and back to my ER physician podcast for a little while longer. And then I was like, well, you know what? I think I'm just going to do it myself.
Yes.
You know, there's probably other ER nurses that want to hear this through the lens of an ER nurse. I'm by no means an expert. But I do love nursing, and so it's not a problem for me on my downtime to research something or dig into something or interview someone and talk about ER nursing. It is a way, I think, of coping with burnout and keeping that passion, you know, that fire flamed a little bit. So like I said, we do a little bit of clinical stuff here or there, but mostly it's things like we have an episode on the dark humor of nurses.
Yes.
We have an episode about how we hate it when people ask us, what's the worst thing you've ever seen? And some of the potential answers that you could give. We have episodes on the EMS, ER nursing continuum. You know, we receive patients from them and how to facilitate that. So yeah, it's super fun.
I love that you said that because so I don't do any research and I like to just go with the flow with these interviews, right? But like I always look up stuff. Like I just go to like Google and just type in ER nurses and see what the first thing that pops up. And I swear to God, that's literally the first 10 links. It's like, worst thing you've seen in the ER. I'm like, I hate it with a passion when people ask me that. What do you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you one of my favorite patients died and I was crying in the break room for 6 hours? Like, what? I hate when people ask me that question. So I'm really happy that you have an entire episode dedicated to that because when people ask you that question, they want something funny. Like I pulled this out of someone's bum, but like that's not the worst.
That's not what comes to mind for you. That's
exactly. So I love, yeah. And that's why I did not ask that question because I hate when that question's asked of me.
Thank you for that. Thank you for not asking that.